I sit on my board because I had a bad accident about 10 years ago in 2015. So now I'm paraplegic and I'm in a wheelchair in my daily life. So my goals were not huge at the beginning, just go straight and foil. And yeah,
And now you're doing
I built up.
flips, you're doing maneuvers. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Can I ask you maybe some practical questions?
Mhm.
Because you probably have a car that you can just drive with your hands, but
Yes.
then once you arrive at the parking spot, you have a bunch of gear. You have to bring it to the water. You have to flip your board. Can you do that alone, or do you need
No,
help?
This episode is sponsored by Foilsessions. Whether it is pump foiling, winging, or parawinging, this app tracks time on foil, upwind angles, and much, much more. For downwinding, you can set a destination and you'll get directions on your watch or on the earphones. Try it for free on the link in the description.
This is Up on Foil, the podcast for everyone flying just above the surface. Pump, carve, soar, let's foil!
This episode is also supported by SurfEars, but more on that later.
Welcome to episode number 84 of Up on Foil, the podcast where we talk all about foiling. And let me introduce us real quick. I'm Matt. I'm an average foiler, dock starting often and parawinging most of the time. And with me is Guillaume. And Guillaume, you probably have seen him on the socials. He is the one sitting on his board. And thank you very much, Guillaume, for coming on the show. I'm super excited. And maybe you can just start by helping me with your last name. If I would pronounce it, I would say Colin, but how do you say it in English?
Actually, it's my first name is Guillaume. That's my first name. And my last name is Colin.
Colin. So Guillaume Colin is how you
That's
introduce yourself in English.
exactly.
Awesome.
I know it's hard for English-speaking people to pronounce Guillaume, especially with the spelling. But it's like Guy like guitar and Yum like yummy. Guillaume. It works like that.
That's a perfect help. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, man. That's so cool. We want to get into your sports side and maybe also because you're an inspiration, really. And we will get into maybe you can inspire even more people who want to get into water sports and foiling.
Mhm.
And maybe for all the listeners, maybe you can tell us what happened, how you are on the water, basically, because we've seen you sitting, and for the viewers, they've seen how it looks. But for the listeners, why are you sitting on your board?
I sit on my board because I had a bad accident about 10 years ago in 2015. So now I'm paraplegic and I'm in a wheelchair in my daily life. And I've always been very keen about outdoor sports and in the sea and the ocean specifically. So surfing, windsurfing, kite surfing before my accident. Windsurfing, wing foiling didn't exist before 2015. So it appeared later. And after my accident, I wanted to finally get this sensation of gliding, of surfing. So I started seat surfing. And a few years later, when the wing foil appeared, I really wanted to do that. So I customized my board to ride in a sitting position. So I added foot straps and a seat belt to make one with the board. And I ride like that in a sitting position.
So you've always been on the water. Did you start like as a kid?
I started, as a kid, during summer breaks. My parents put me in camps for kids for sailing and then windsurfing. And then when I got the driving license when I was 18, I grew up in Montpellier in the south of France. So it's about 10 minutes to the sea. So when I got my driving license, I really started to windsurf, and then I learned how to surf and then kite surf, and then I had my accident.
Was that like
No,
water sports
it was
related?
not. No, it was not water sport. It was in the Alps, in the French Alps. It was a glider. It was a glider accident.
What's a
So
glider?
the glider is the
Like a
small.
paraglider?
No, no paraglide. It's like a small plane with no engine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You're
Okay.
inside a plane. It's small. It's very light. It's got very thin wings with a long
Mhm.
wingspan, and you fly in the mountains without motor or engine.
So you get pulled up by a plane and then they release
Yes,
and then you
exactly.
okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Were you piloting that or as a passenger?
I was a passenger. It was a 2-seat glider. I was the passenger.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah, we don't know what happened, but we lost control. End up in the trees, and I woke
Oh
up in
wow.
the hospital. Yeah.
I'm really sorry, man. That's terrible. Like how long did it take to somehow recover? I can imagine there's two kinds of recoveries. One like the physical one and also mentally. How did you recover, man?
Exactly. Well, it took about I spent about 8 to 9 months in the hospital and recovery center, rehab center, to work on rehabilitation and work with the physio and try to get back my independence and autonomy, because at first I couldn't move anything. I was stuck in bed for weeks and weeks, for months, for like about 2 months without moving in bed. And little by little, I managed to get back some motricity in my legs, just a little, but not enough to walk. So I ended up in a wheelchair. And then I got out of the center about 8 to 9 months after. So that was the physical recovery. And then the mental recovery, as you said, is maybe the toughest one. It takes longer than that to accept the handicap and to keep looking forward and stop looking backwards. So it took, but maybe it took me about a year before going back
Okay.
to water sports.
1 year
to
after
sport.
your accident to sports.
To sport, yeah. Maybe 1 year to get back to sport in general, and maybe another 6 months to another year to water sports. But I got inspired when I was in the hospital. I was trying to project myself to see my future in a wheelchair, and it was a bad period of time for me because I didn't have any reference or model. And I watched the Parasurfing World Championship that were on YouTube in 2015, and I saw all these guys, disabled people, surfing, and I was amazed. And that was really an engine for me, like something like clicked in my brain. And from that moment, I knew that there was something that would be possible for me. Of course, it took time, but I knew somewhere in my brain that that would be possible to surf anyway. And then foiling.
I looked at your Insta reels, and this parasurfing kind of looks from afar like a kayak.
Yeah,
Like
it's a mix. Yeah, it's a mix between a kayak and a surfboard. So basically, it's a surfboard, but I sit on the surfboard. I'm strapped to the board. I'm fixed to the board, and I've got a kayak paddle to propel myself to move forward. So it's basically, it's a mix between kayak and surf. But it's one of the categories in parasurfing. Depending on the handicap, you have different categories, whether you surf standing, kneeling, sitting, or laying down, like you don't move on the boards. My category is sitting, and it looks like it's a mix between kayaking and surfing.
Can you maybe talk about maybe the first session or one of the first sessions? Because when I think about doing stuff like that, being strapped to a board that can flip, that sounds super scary. Was that not a problem for you?
No, it's not a problem. I'm very at ease in the water. I'm comfortable in the water. And you need to get used to unbelt very quickly. So it's a very quick unbelt system. So there's no, as soon as you know what to put your hand to unbelt, it's very easy, and it's like just a fraction of a second to unbelt. So once you get that, you're not scared. And but now I don't do that anymore because
Did you know that spending time in cold water and wind can cause your ears to slowly grow extra bone, sometimes enough to block them completely? It's called surfer's ear or exostosis, and is part of your body's natural protective response. But ear problems aren't only about cold. Warm or polluted water can also lead to swimmer's ear, infection and inflammation, whether in pools, lakes, or the ocean. SurfEars is the original patented earplug from Sweden. It's modular, customizable, and comfortable, designed to seal from water while keeping hearing and balance intact. Sustainably made and trusted by water people worldwide.
I improved my technique and I can Eskimo roll.
Okay.
So Eskimo rolls, you don't. It's like if you're staying in your kayak. I stay strapped to my board and I do the paddle technique to get back up without having to unstrap and getting back on the board. But it's something quite technical, so it's not for beginners. It's when you get to a certain level.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Were you wearing a leash like in the first part?
Yeah, well, I still wear a leash always, just in case I get wipe out, and I sometimes like in urgency or emergency case, I need to unleash to get my breath, and because it's very technical and it's very hard on the muscles. When you are in the water and you are in the wipeout, you need to breathe, and if you miss the Eskimo roll,
Oh shit! Yeah.
then you get back in the water and you get the next wave, and at some point you need to escape from that. So once in a while, I need to unbelt in emergency, and I have a leash for that. But it's maybe once a year.
You're world champion, right, in
Yes.
parasurfing? Two
Yes.
times.
2 times, yeah, 2024 and 2025.
How long did it take you to get to that level?
Well, as I said, I had the accident in 2015, and I think I got back in water surfing, like parasurfing, in 2017. So it took me, 6, 7, 8 years to get back to that level.
And you've always competed.
No. I started competing really in 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
How? Because honestly, I've never been on a surf competition whatsoever, but I've never seen on TV or anywhere else than on your Instagram this
Yeah.
parasurf. Is that big within kind of the community, or how does that work?
It's quite big. It's still para sport, so it's not as big as able-bodied surf. But we have a world championship every year. It's been held for since 2015. That was the first edition, first time. So we've had already 10, 11 world championships. It's a gathering of great people, and it's quite it's big because we have the organization have the money to broadcast that online on YouTube and live stream, so that's great. But it's still quite a small community that gathers together, and we all know each other. It's quite fun.
Were you also able to kite surf? Because you said you kite surf before. Is that also possible?
It is possible. I've never tried. In seat kite surfing, I have never tried, but it is possible, and some gear, some equipment exists already on the market. So there's not many people riding in a sitting position, but it's possible. And I've never tried.
That is so impressive. Then obviously foiling came along. Do you remember the first time you saw it and you thought, I'm going to try that too?
I remember the first time once again, I had a click in my brain because I was with a friend, able-bodied friend who was going for a ride, and I was just there to get some fresh air and to be a spectator. And he started to get his gear ready on the car park on the beach, and I was there on my wheelchair, and he handed me the wing to put his wetsuit on, and I took the wing on my wheelchair, and I could feel the strength, in my arms, and my brain went back straight away 20 years back with, the sensation of windsurfing and the strength in your arms. And that clicked in my brain, like, okay, that's fun. I want to do that because I love this sensation that I know. And that was the point from where I started to think about how to adapt the board and to go on the water. So from that point, I started to ride on my wheelchair on the car park with the wing and going back and forth and chiding with the wheelchair, and it was fun already.
That is amazing. So you saw that, you had the sensation, then you immediately knew how the board needed to look, or was there some trial and error when building such a board?
I didn't build the board. I just bought some gear. I adapted the board. So the wing is a normal wing. The foil is normal foil. The board is normal, but I had to adapt it with it's actually what I knew from seat surfing, is also called wave ski. So you sit on a board, you have the foot straps and you have the belt and you have a seatbelt seat. So all I knew about that, I took it and put it on the wing foil board. And yeah, I had some trials and mistakes, of course, because, the foil is very sensitive, the balance of the foil.
Yeah.
So because I'm strapped to the board, I need to be in the exact sweet spot for balance, because once I'm there, I cannot move forward or backward. Yeah. So it took me time to try and get the right balance points. Also, it depends on the foil you put under the board. So now I know everything, but yeah, it took some time.
And then you went out on the water. Did you start behind a boat, or did you immediately go wing foiling?
I tried once towed by a boat, but even before the adaptation was made. So I was just sitting on the board. I was not strapped to the board, so that was not possible. It was very complicated. And then I bought the gear and I had adapted the board and I went wing foiling. But I took a lesson with a coach who was following me on the boat just for safety, because when you start, you can't keep the wind and you drift. So that's what I did for maybe 2 or 3 sessions with a safety boat, and then I went all by myself.
I can imagine it not being that different to someone who stands on a board. Like the first few sessions, it's probably difficult to find that balance. I guess you also started in the flat, right? Because that's usually easier.
Yes, I started in the flat, of course. Yes.
And then that sensation when it kind of like lifts you up. How was that for you, man?
It's amazing. The first one is amazing. It's still good, but the first one, you just rise about like 20 centimeters above the water and you feel like you're 2 meters high. You're like, whoa. That first sensation is crazy. And the first session I managed to foil to fly was great, because I really managed to fly for like hundreds of meters, not just like, bump and go up and down. Nice. I managed to get the stability and foil, not the first time, but in that same first session of foiling, at the end of the session, I could go like a couple hundred meters straight on the foil. And that was amazing.
That is awesome. Then the first try obviously is difficult. Was that no problem for you? Like
no, it comes later. Of course, it's more difficult. But my goal with wing foiling at start was just I could imagine myself like, okay, if I can fall and go straight, that would be a dream. That would be amazing. And that worked. And then I was like, okay, maybe if I can jibe, that would be unreal, because I didn't think that would be possible. Then it came real. And then I was like, okay, maybe if I can jump, that would be crazy. And then I can jump. And, it's always going forward a bit more. So my goals were not huge at the beginning, just go straight and foil. And
and now you're doing flips, you're doing maneuvers. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
How is it different when you fall? Is it different to parasurfing when you fall, or is it the same concept? You're strapped, you unstrap if necessary.
The position is about the same. The balance is very different. The maneuvers are very, very different. But yeah, the position is basically the same. Sitting on the board and strapped to the board to make one with it.
But when I look at like videos of you surfing, then between the waves, it's pretty flat. It's glassy. So I guess, or I presume, it's easier to get back on that board. If you're in the wind, there are bumps everywhere. You have a wing that is like tearing at your arm. Getting back on that board, is that not a problem?
Wing foiling? No, it's not a
Yeah.
problem. Actually, I don't. I stay strapped to the board. I do like an Eskimo roll, but it's an easy one because I reach the wing and I
Okay.
pull. I lean on the wing sorry, to get back
Yeah.
up. I know you can put all your weight on the wing to get back up. So it's much easier than with the paddle with surfing, because the paddle is it's
that's
area.
true.
It's not as much weight you can put on the paddle.
But
So
would
it's
you
much easier
still
with the wing.
do you still have a leash though, if in case you need to unstrap?
I still have the leash just in case. Yeah, just in case.
You write Gong.
Yes.
Are they supporting you in any way?
Yeah. I'm in a team. I'm in the pro rider team of Gong, so they lend me the gear.
How did that like cooperation start? Did you ask them? Did they see you? How did that work? Can you
Actually,
talk about
both.
that even?
Yeah, sure. I can talk about that. It's actually both. When I put my first video of wing foiling, that session I was telling you about, where I could ride for a couple 100 meters, the coach on the boat was recording with his phone, so I could make a reel on Instagram and Facebook, and I shared that publicly. And the manager of Gong saw that and sent me a DM, a direct message, to tell me like if I needed help, he was there to listen and to work together. So that's how it worked. In the same time, in parallel, I sent when I put the video on social media, I sent a message to Gong saying, "Hey guys, are you interested to do something together?"
That is amazing. Did you visit them? Did they visit you? Were you like also trying out different boards, I guess? Because it's not just taking a board and getting out. You have to adapt the boards, right?
I have to adapt the board. So I haven't tried so many boards because they need adaptation. It's not like I can try and no, it doesn't work for me. I don't want this one, because it's okay. Well, you've modified it. You added some inserts and stuff. So it's not an original board anymore. But I talked to the one of the, what do you call that, technical counselor or advisor. We talk a lot about what would be good for me and for my riding style and everything, and my level. So I've upgraded the boards year after year, and I have visited them. Yeah, they are in Saint-Nazaire, so it's a long way from where I live in Montpellier. But Saint-Nazaire is about 10, 12 hours drive. But
Wow.
sometimes when I'm on a trip and I go for a surf trip or a windsurf trip, I stop in the shop there.
But you're not only winging and surfing. I saw you kind of like on a downwinder, and I also saw you. And how do you cope with the name on the Parawing?
What do you mean?
You know, I mean, the name Parawing is kind of different now when we talk about it.
Yes.
You're doing all that too, right?
I've tried Parawing once only. Once only.
That's what you put on Instagram then?
Yes. I've only had one session. I put it on Instagram. It worked, but it's complicated because you've got all the strings, and when you fall, I can't get back up leaning on the wing anymore.
Oh, true.
So I have to unleash, to unbelt, and then I'm in the water and I can't control my legs that are in the water, and other strings everywhere, and my legs get into the strings of the wing, and it's a complete mess. It's very complicated. So that first session, I knew it might be complicated. So I took a coach and a safety boat, and maybe 50% of the time when I fell, I could get back up by myself. It was okay. But half of the time I needed some help to unmess the strings and everything. It was very hard to get back up and go again. So it's interesting, but I really don't have the level to go by myself.
It makes a lot of sense. How is it with the paddle? Like, can you do downwinders on foil with the paddle?
That's a good question. You know what? Gong is sending me a board. It's on the way. I haven't received it yet, but I should receive it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow for downwinding with a paddle. So
Nice.
yeah, so it's a standard paddle board that is adapted. So it's long and thin. It's a downwind standard paddle, long and thin. So I'm going to sit on that with a paddle and try to go downwind with that. So it's the new project.
That is
We'll see
amazing.
if it works. I don't know. We'll see if it works. The thing is, I cannot pump between the
That's true.
bumps.
Yeah.
So I either need to have very good conditions with a very big swell, or see if I can still paddle on the foil. See if it's possible.
Yeah, that's difficult. Because I saw you in breaking waves on foil.
Yes. Yeah.
And there you cannot Eskimo roll, right? With the foil.
No. I have tried, but it's not possible because it's too. Eskimo rolling is very like a quick maneuver, but because of the foil, it slows the process. So it's not possible to. I haven't managed to Eskimo roll.
So is it kind of like dangerous, or are you more nervous when going into breaking waves with a foil?
No, because I don't need to. Eskimo rolling is just an easier way to get back up and more effective. But I can just unstrap and get out of the boards, and then get back up when the wave is past. So it's not a problem. It just takes more time. That's it.
That's so impressive. How many people have called you, have messaged you that are in maybe a similar situation as you are and ask for advice?
Yeah, people that are in similar situations, or also federations or associations that want to promote that discipline. I don't know, but a lot, tens and tens of people around the world. But I still don't know anyone who is able to ride in like by themselves so far.
Okay.
So I share, but I think there's the break is because you cannot just buy the gear and go in the water. You need to buy the gear and adapt the gear, and it's not very complicated. You need to add some inserts to add the foot straps and the belt and make the seats. It's not very complicated, but still you need to work on that and to be sure where to put the inserts and where to sit on the board. So it takes time, and I think that's why it's not there's not so many people in the water.
Are you gonna work with Gong on that, or is that maybe a personal project?
I do work with Gong on that, but there's not enough demand yet to make like a commercial product. Okay. So they make the boards, they adapt the boards if you ask them, but it's not on the website, and you cannot just buy and go.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah. I saw images of you on the DefiWing.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the first time last year, or were you there a couple of times already?
A couple of times already, yeah.
How is that experience for you?
It's fun. Well, the long distance racing is not what I do when I go when I go riding. Like, no one does that. Like, but the event is just fun. There are last year about 600 people in the wingfold category. So 600 like starting together with the rabbit start with the boat, it's very friendly, and the atmosphere is great, and it's a great event. So I'm gonna go again this year in about 2 months. Yeah.
Are you the only one sitting, or is there someone else?
So far, I'm the only one. Yeah. We'll see.
Any ideas that might change as you are maybe in contact with other people?
I think they will change, but as I said, I still don't know anyone who's able to ride independently, and going on the Defi could be quite tough. First year we got like 35 knots plus for 3 days. So going for 20, 30, 40 Ks in that conditions, you've got the safety, of course, but sometimes, you need to be sure what you're doing if you want to go in these conditions. Last year was good, was not that stuff, but we got like, between 20 and 30 knots So it was perfect conditions last year.
Can I ask you maybe some practical questions? Because you probably have a car that you can just drive with your hands. But
Yes.
then once you arrive at the parking spot, you have a bunch of gear. You have to bring it to the water. You have to flip your board. Can you do that alone, or do you need
No,
help with that?
I always need help to go riding for logistics. I need people to to get my gear and to bring it to the water, and very often to help me cross the beach, because with the wheelchair it's very hard to go in the sand. So I've got some specific wheels, like very low pressure fat tires that I can put in the wheelchair. But even with that, it's very difficult to cross. So I ask people to give me a push. I ask people to carry the gear, and then I need to ask someone to get in the water with me to bring the gear where there's enough depth to put the foil, and then I can go. And same for when I finish
For
the
coming
session
back,
and come
it's
back
even
to the park.
worse because you need to like get someone to come
Yeah,
to you, or like
that's
be on time.
that's what I do. Usually there's people on the spot when there are some good conditions. So I just either I go with friends and it's easy. They know how to do, and they're used to it. Or if they're not available, I just go. There are people in the car park. I just ask, and people are very happy to get to have a chat with me and give me a hand.
I saw you on a video where you pumped up your wing with the hands.
Mhm.
Do you have an electric pump? Because I can imagine that's super
No,
exhausting.
it's my warm up.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that must be extremely hard, right?
I
To
don't
like
know.
get
I
water.
can't remember how it is to pump like normal way, like when
Okay.
you put your feet on the pump and with your hands. I just sit on the base of the pump and I pump like that. But yeah, it's quite fast to pump a wing anyway. So it's a warm up. It's a good warm up.
Okay. Oh, that is incredible. I mean, you probably used to that. When I imagine me sitting on the board, the waves seem even higher
Hmm.
because I'm within the waves. Was that also something you had to get used to, or is it
Yes.
just the way it is? It's no problem. You're gonna float anyway once you're in the water. How does that feel for you?
Well, the waves, of course, you feel smaller when you sit, uh, when the waves come, because the like uh 1.5 meter wave. If you stand up, it's gonna arrive somewhere here.
Yeah,
1.5 meter. When I see it, it's like above head. It's
that's
too yeah.
scary.
So I'm right in the wave. So the sensations are good. I don't need like a huge wave to have good sensation, to have good feeling.
When I'm winging or para winging or even dock starting, people always come and ask about the foil and whatnot. But for you, it's probably even worse because you're again within that bubble of foilers in a special situation. Are people often coming to you and asking the same stupid questions that I'm asking now?
Well, there's no stupid questions. All the questions are good, but the one that comes the most often is, how do you do when you fall? Because people, they can't get to imagine or picture what's possible, and it's
Yep.
very easy. Like as I told you, I just lean. I reach the wing. I lean on the wing and I get back up. And if I can't, I just unleash. And it took me 10 more seconds to get back on the board to get the seatbelt again and go.
So you've never had the problem to not be able to get back going, like some emergency on the water?
Uh, no, maybe sometimes at first when I had a beginner board, which was much larger,
Yeah.
it was very difficult because it
To
was
flip it
large,
over.
to flip it over, very hard on the shoulders. So I didn't do that at first. So I had to unbelt each time. And when you unbelt, I've got the leash to the board and the leash to the wing, of course. And sometimes the leashes, they get together, and it's a nightmare to
Do you have
undo.
coil leashes?
Yeah. Sorry? Yeah,
Do you
I've
have
got
coiled leashes?
coil
Because
leashes.
2
Yes,
coiled leashes, it's terrible.
yeah,
That's the
I've
worst.
got two coil leashes, and maybe I need to change. Yeah.
Do you have
And
a
I remember
waist leash?
once when that happened, and I was drifting with the wind, like maybe 25 knots swing. I was a beginner, and the rocks were coming, and I was going straight in the rocks. I was like, okay, I need to undo this leash, I need to undo it, and I managed to do that just in time.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Do you have a waist leash and a hand leash, or how are your leashes combined?
I have a wrist leash and a belt
Okay, yeah,
leash. Yeah, for the board. Yeah.
okay. All right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What else do you take? Because when I go parawinging, I have a hook knife, and I'm not sure if that's also something you bring because you're strapped to the board, and maybe that the mechanism doesn't work. Do you bring a hook knife with
No,
you or
I've
no?
never thought of that. I've been using the belts with the system for almost 10 years, and I've never had a problem. And I don't know anyone in that sport that had a problem with that belt, so it just
Okay.
works. And well, even if it doesn't work, it's just like a loop with something that goes in the loop and that gets stuck into it. But the rest of the belt is Velcro.
Okay.
So just
Okay.
in case, you can also undo the Velcro, and I never had to do that, but you can also do that if there is a problem.
Okay. One of the sponsors of the show is SurfEars. Do you have something to protect your ears as well?
For what? Sorry,
You
for
know,
my
to
ears.
protect your ears.
Yeah,
I use
no,
SurfEars.
I always ride with a helmet that covers my ears,
Okay.
so they protect my ears a lot. So I don't use anything else.
All right. That is so cool.
Yeah.
What is planned ahead, Guillaume? You said that yes, your downwind board, your sup board, or just the long board is coming,
Yes.
and that you're gonna go to the DefiWing again. What else have you planned?
That keep surf foiling, which is quite new. I started surf foiling in the breaking waves, like in first session was when October or November, so it's very new. So keep doing that. Keep wing foiling, and sharing. I love sharing with people that contact me. I have a project with 3 different associations in Europe, French, German, and Italian associations. We applied to get a grant for developing the discipline. So we'll see if we get that grant, and that'd be great. It's a 3-year program. So we'll see if we can do that. And riding and sharing. That's the point.
That is so cool, man. How often can you get on the water?
I get depends. Like today there was no winds, no waves, but I will got on the water on a supboard, not a foil, just for cruising. But to go for rides like wind or wave, once or twice a week.
That is nice. What's your job? What do you work, man?
I'm
Taking 1 or 2 days
I'm
a week? That's pretty nice.
I'm an engineer at first, but now I'm a corporate speaker. So I go to companies for inspirational talks.
So you probably bring up the winging and the foiling as well,
Of
huh?
course, I talk about that. I talk about my journey, my path. I was an engineer and I had an accident, but I bounced back with sports that was motivating me, and with surfing and innovation with wing foiling, and I speak about all that.
And you travel all over France or even Europe for that, or even the world, I don't know.
I just started not even a year ago, so it's very recent. It's France so far, but I've done it in English a few times, so I can travel Europe, the world to do that. No worries. We'll see.
Guillaume, now is the time to plug your gig. Where can people find you? Like to book something?
They can find me. The social media I use for that is LinkedIn. And also I've got my website, which is Mova. How you call
The underscore?
not the underscore,
The dash.
the dash. Yeah. So it's Mova, MOVA dash impact.fr.
Foilsessions.fr. We're gonna link everything in the show notes so
Yep.
people can find you. Also your Instagram. Let me just take that up here. It's gcolin.impact
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram, and
Yes.
there people should definitely follow and see what you got going. That's so cool. I mean, I see some pirog here.
Yes, we played that last week. It was fun. A friend got a 5-place outrigger canoe. OC5. It was fun in the waves.
That is crazy. And really your videos, you doing flips on the wing, that's impressive, man. That's
Sometimes, not yeah. It's very cool. Well, I need to really have the wind and the waves in certain like angles for me to work. Like I can jump on flat water, but I won't be able to jump very high, so not enough to send some freestyle tricks. But when I've got some waves coming in and a good wind, I can jump.
What's your show off? What's your show off move? If you see a camera, what do you show off with?
Well, actually, I don't just like a rally, like a jump. It's not very often that I do a rotation or paddle or flips. I've done a few, but it's not what I do the most. Like I'm more like a free rider than a freestyler.
All right. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I'm not even a jumper. What's your favorite foil to use? And a lot of people ride Gong, and they are familiar with the brand and with the range.
Mhm.
What foils is your preference? Foils?
The one I use most of the time is a fluid ash in size medium, which is a 900 square centimeters. That's the one I use maybe 80% of the time. I have the same in smaller, in 600 or 700, I think, and also the same the fluid ash in much bigger for lightwing.
And the tail?
The stab?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stab, the surf freestyle stab, which is the shorter one in the Gong products.
Universe.
I love short stabs because it's much more easy to maneuver and it's
Yeah, and
unstable.
you probably have less moving room, right, to get out or to change the pitch axis.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard. It's not as stable, but it's much faster to move and to play with it. So I love the stabs. I really when I found out that the short stabs were good for me, that was like a game changer.
Revelation.
Yeah.
What mass do you use? What length?
85. And the wings I use I've got 3 wings, 3, 4, and 5 square meters. And above that, it's too big for me because I see it's like, even the 5s, I can ride it in light wind,
Mhm.
but the tips touch the water very easily. So I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
go
makes total sense.
bigger than 5 square meters.
That is amazing. But that,
And my
I'm
board is
really
my
impressed,
board is
man.
95 liters mint.
Okay. How heavy is your setup? Your, like, I don't know how you call it, where you sit and the straps and whatnot.
I don't know. I don't know the wave is that much. The seat is big. It's big. It looks big, but it's foam. It's stiff and
It's just
rigid
foam?
foam. Yeah, it's just foam.
Okay.
So it's light. It floats. It's light. So altogether, maybe it's, I don't know, 2 kilograms with the straps and the seat belts and the seats. So
Well, that's the same as like having a little extra weight after the holidays. So that's really not an issue. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, that is really inspiring. I love what you're doing, and I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else that you want to share with the world, maybe?
Oh no, I think you asked the right question, and yeah, no, it's all good.
All right, then. If people are going to foil, can you tell us, or do you want to share where you're usually riding?
Well, I live in Montpellier, south of France, so I round in that area. There are some famous spots there, some more secret spots that I won't talk about
No,
here.
no, you don't have.
Yeah. But the spot where I go most of the time is very famous. It's called Port Camargue. And it's good. You you can get some swell coming in. It's very safe because it's like the coast goes around and there's a bank protecting from the swell. So it's great to start there if you're a beginner, and it's great to ride there as well with more experience because you can get out of the bank and get the swell.
And is Mistral hitting Port Camargue?
Yes,
or what's
but
the
it's
wind like the best way
Mistral,
to?
but Port Camargue is much better with Tramontane.
Okay,
So Mistral is the north wind and Tramontane is the northwest. And the
okay,
Tramontane brings the swell.
all right,
So the
very
more
nice.
west the wind is, the better.
Perfect. Well, Guillaume, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really hope to see you on the water sometime, man.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
And
great.
good
Thanks
luck with
for
your
inviting me.
longboard.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
All right.
I'm eager
Looking
to know.
forward to seeing it. Have a good one, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
Merci beaucoup. Ah,
C'est
c'est
bon.